the nice part about grouping my name together is if I want to shrink it, I can actually click my name, and because all the letters will change at the same time, I can grab any of these handles around my name. It's a little more confusing again because our work plane has moved, but I like to grab these white boxes in the corner, and then you can actually shrink the length and the width at the same time. So I'm actually going to shrink my name down, and I'm actually going to put it down here at the end. So you can pick wherever you want it, if you want it in the middle, at the end. The only place you really don't want it is you don't want to go cover up your hole, otherwise when it prints it'll create a lot of problems and we won't get to be anything we're happy with. So at this point I have my name in the middle, and I'm going to spend some time over here at the right in the library. I'm going to go ahead and close the letters. There's some numbers. You can add some numbers in there. If you have a favorite number, you can add it on to the end of it. You know, if you wanted to 0, 1, you can drop both those in there, and you can kind of customize them however you need to. You could change the height of them again, just so they go down to about 2 again. You could do crazy heights. I mean, if you wanted this thing to be 20 millimeters tall, you could do that. I wouldn't recommend it because they'll break off fairly easy. So again, I don't want these, so I'm just going to click them and hit delete. So again, there's numbers there. There are some symbols. There's not a lot of them, but there's a star and a heart. So if you really wanted one of those, like for example, if I wanted the star, I can bring it in here and just stick it on the surface of my name tag, and I can see what that looks like as well. So you can merge shapes. My name is 2 millimeters tall, and so if I wanted a star to be behind my name, I could smush this down to like 1, and I could drag it behind my name. And when it printed, you can kind of see what would happen here. It would print a star behind my name at a different depth than my name. Might not look the best, might be a little harder to read, but it is totally possible, and it's something that you could do. But I'm going to go ahead and delete that. So again, there's some things there. There's also some things in extras that you could try out. The one thing that is not a very good idea, if you grab something like the bunny ear here, is printing something like this on your name tag. Just because they're very tall and they're very weak, they will break off pretty quickly. And if by chance you rotated it so it was kind of floating in the air, it also makes things a little hard. So 3D printers can't do something like this. They can't print the space underneath it. They can do what's called supporting to print this clear up here, but it would be pretty fragile and would break off very quickly. So for now we're just sticking with flat things. I could click on this and drag it down. So it would be something like that. They actually can do this kind of printing, but here's the one thing that we don't want to do, is we don't want something to be underneath our name tag so you can see the other side of it. What that does is the 3D printer tries to print at the lowest point, and so if something sticks down here, it prints this first, and it has a very hard time making this look nice and smooth on the back. So we want to keep things so they're not there and not stuck through the name tag. I'm going to go ahead and reset my home view here too. So what I do want to show you though, we're going to go ahead and close the extras and the symbols. There's a couple things up here. You could import a shape if you had an STL file, such as like our cardinal logo for our school. You could import this. There's also again the shape generators. There's the helpers. TinkerCAD has some interesting things. These things don't seem to work very well for our name tag design, so I've had my students kind of stay away from those. But the shape generators actually does have some pretty cool things in there. So there's some TinkerCAD shapes if they ever load. You could do text this way. There's some rings. There's not very many of them, so we don't really use these a whole lot either. But the community actually is pretty cool. There are a lot of different choices in here. There's a Christmas tree, and there's 23 different pages of things that you could add to it. So if you wanted a tree, you can actually just click and hold down and bring that tree in. And sometimes if this happens where you don't see it, you can zoom way back out, and then usually it's kind of stuck off to the side here too. So the one thing about these TinkerCAD shapes that is kind of nice is you can actually change a lot of it just by clicking these sliders right here. So I'm going to bring my tree up to my workplace. For some reason mine's stuck, so we might just get rid of it and see what happens here. So we'll click on this tree and delete it. We'll try that one more time. There we go. And we'll zoom back in again. So that is the one problem I do have, is the inspector eats up a lot of screen space. So if I'm messing with something, I will minimize my library over to the side. And there is my tree on my name tag if I want one on there too. So the one thing I do like though, again, if you keep going through the community, is on page 7, currently on page 7. It'll probably change later on. There's a lot of crazy different shapes. There's a drill. You could totally add a drill on the end here and make sure it fits on your name tag, but now you'd have this huge spirally shape stuck on the end of your name tag, which is pretty cool actually. And you can shrink those down too. But the one thing I think is pretty cool on page 7 is somebody actually went in and created US states. And so if it'll load here, here is the US states. And right now it doesn't matter what state it is, you can just bring it over to your work plane and it adds it. And once you drop it in, then it actually shows you right here, here is the name of the state. And so you can click on that and choose different states by scrolling through the list. And so I can go find Nebraska over here at the end, and there's Nebraska. I'll click on that. It'll take a second or two, but now I have a Nebraska map on my keychain, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that there, and I like that enough. I'm actually going to go move my name over, and then I'm going to go ahead and move Nebraska back over. And same thing too, if you decide you need a different height, you can grab height right here and you can make it really, really tall. Which does have a tendency to kind of slow things down a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and hit undo, shrink that back to 2 millimeters. And then the one thing I do want to be careful of is I want to make sure before I'm all done, I can see right here if I zoom around, it looks like my state's sticking over my name tag just a little bit. And so what I'll probably do is I'll rotate back to the top, and I can use my arrow keys to kind of nudge it around to get it all back on here. And if you're not happy with the way it angles, there are rotation tools, and you can kind of spin that around to get it however you want to get it lined up in here. So I'm actually pretty happy with that. I've got my name, I've got my state, and then I think the one thing I will do is I'll minimize that and go back to my symbols, and I think I will go find a star. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and add my star to my state. But before I do that, just to make sure that it sticks above the surface of it, I can go back up here to helpers, and I can grab my work plane and I can put it right on top of the state of Nebraska. And what that does is it lifts my work plane a little bit higher again, and when I put this star in, I know that it will be on top of Nebraska. And there it is. So now if I look at it from my side view, you can see here's my name tag, here's Nebraska, and here's my star, which is really tall, and I don't really want that actually. So I think what I might try doing is I'll click my star and I'll smush it down a little bit. We'll make it 2 millimeters tall, just so it's not quite as tall. So, and the other thing you could do, if you wanted to go a little bit further with it, is I can actually click on my star, and I'm going to make this really, really tall. So I'm going to run this up to 15, and I'm actually going to turn it into a hole. And when I do that, I can grab that black cone and push it so it goes all the way through my shape. So I can see the bottom of it sticking underneath my shape here. So if I go like that, you can see it. I have part of my star below my name tag and above my name tag. And when I click on hole, again, it turns it into a space that the 3D printer won't print. And so I'm actually going to group my name tag, my state, my star together. So I'm just going to draw a box that covers name tag, star, and state, just like this. And then I'm going to group these together into one solid shape now. Okay, and you can see that my star goes all the way through. Now, if you're still having trouble with the solid color, there is a choice on colors. If you click that does allow you to do multicolor. And so as soon as I click on multicolor, my state of Nebraska turns back to being green again. And so I can actually see now that I did have a state, I've got my name, and I have a star that goes all the way through it. So before I finish, I want to look and make sure that nothing is sticking on the bottom of my name tag. Again, if it's sticking on the bottom of my name tag, the 3D printer won't actually be able to print it very well. It won't be nice and smooth like it should be. So I'm going to go ahead and click on my home, reset my view. And you could add as many things as you want to. I've had students add several items to the top of it, but for now I think I'm pretty happy with this. So you could add rows of stars across the bottom, and you could do a lot of different things. Actually, while we're here, I'll show you that real quick too. If we go back to geometric, you could even grab something like a pyramid, and we'll bring a pyramid over here. We'll zoom in because that pyramid's pretty big. I'm going to click the corner, shift and click to hold down. And again, at any point, you could have stopped once your name was on here, but just for the sake of illustrating a few other things, we'll keep doing this. So I can move a pyramid down here to the corner, and if I'm not sure if it's lined up right, I can change my view, and it definitely is not on there. I'll move my name up a little bit. and I'll move this pyramid up with it a little bit. Now I've got one on here that I'm pretty happy with, and so I can either copy and paste, but I can also do on edit, I have an option to duplicate, and it'll make an exact copy right over the top of it, and then I can use my arrow keys to nudge that over. And so I can actually keep edit and duplicate, and I can actually make a whole row of these going all the way across my name tag. So again, edit, duplicate, and I'll slide it over. And then if you want to get faster at it, I can do shift clicking, and so I'll click my first shape, hold down shift, and click my next shape, and then my last one, I'm still holding shift down, and that selects all 3 pyramids here. And if I do edit and duplicate again, it actually makes a copy of all 3. And so I can actually line them up just like this, and I can do edit and duplicate again, and with any luck, that didn't work. So we'll do this again then. We'll do, now that I've got 6 of them, I can click my first shape, hold down shift, click second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth shapes, and I can do edit and duplicate and slide them over again. And then I'll shift and right click, or shift and 2-finger click to kind of move down, and I think that looks alright actually. And I'll delete this last one since I really don't need it there, so I'll click it and hit the delete key, and I think I should probably add one more over here to this side, so we'll see what this looks like. We'll edit and duplicate that one more time, and then move that to the left and see what that looks like. So I'm pretty happy with that one. It's got a lot of stuff on it, but that's alright too. So I'm going to click my home, and it will reset my view. Go back up to the top, and I'm going to click on helpers where it has work plane, and I'm just going to drag my work plane out here to the work plane itself. And if you want, you can drag it right on the word, but that resets my work plane so I can see everything now. So I'm going to go ahead and close these. So my library is all closed up again, and then I'm just going to zoom around and make sure my name tag looks okay. So I can see this here. Oh, see, that's a good thing I stopped and looked, because my pyramids right now are actually floating above my name tag. So these actually wouldn't be able to print on my name tag at all. And so that's because I still had my work plane on the state of Nebraska instead of on my name tag. And so this is actually a good mistake to make. But the nice part is I can click the first one, hold down shift, and click the rest of these. Okay, so I clicked each one individually, and then I'm going to go ahead and group these just to make things easy on myself. And so what I can do is I can zoom in now, and the black cone is moved, but it's going to show me if I click and hold down, I can pull these down and put them right on the surface of my name tag. I can even go underneath one, and so the points kind of disappear. If I go down too far though, this is what I would get on the bottom, and this would be a bad thing for me to print. My print would not work this way. And so I'm going to click this black cone to bring them back up off the surface, and you can see over here at the right side it has a -1. That means it's below my name tag right now. So if I go up to 0, they are flat with my name tag, and you could actually see the yellow or the square shape sticking through the bottom, and I don't want that either. So I'll go up at least one more, and every time I bring them up, you can see that it goes up there. And my name tag was 3 millimeters tall, so I know that by seeing the number 3 over there, that I am resting right on the surface of it. If you want to go down to 2, it just puts less of the pyramid through, and I kind of like that look too. So, but that is my name tag right there. I have my hole for my keychain, I have some shapes, my name, things I've added on there. The final thing to do, just to make it easy on myself, is on the design menu, you have an option for properties. And so we're going to go ahead and click on properties. And they give some goofy names by TinkerCAD, but I'm actually just going to title this so I know what it is. So this is my name tag. And then I'm going to leave it private, and that way nobody else can get it. I don't really need anybody else. It's nothing that creative, but it is something that I just don't really need people to share. So I can hit Save Changes, and my name up here should appear when it is completely saved. It'll take a few seconds depending on how complex your shape is. Just some other things could happen in the middle too, so don't be surprised if everything kind of disappears for a little while. It'll eventually come back and then rebuild your shape. So that is our completed name tag. From here, again on the design menu, we could actually order a 3D print from here. They are a little more expensive. For what my students do, they actually just click on download for 3D printing, and so we're going to go ahead and click on download for 3D printing. If you were all done for the day, like my students didn't get a chance to finish and they need to save it, if they actually hit close, it will save it before it closes. But for what we're doing, we're going to go ahead and click download for 3D printing, and then we have different choices. Our MakerBot, because it's printing in just one color, and it works the best with the STL files. So if you click the .stl file, which you should get at the bottom of your browser, depending on your browser, is right here. It just downloaded my name tag, and this is an STL file which I can drop into MakerBot software. So I'm pretty much done with this one, and we'll go ahead and stop here, and then we'll see what it looks like in the MakerBot here in just 1 second.